going to be 18?
Yeah,
soon?
in April.
In April? Does that matter to you? Is it a milestone birthday that you're thinking about, that you're like, this is something major? I'm going to be an official adult.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot because I'm also just thinking about the future because I'm a senior now in high school and applying to colleges. And I've also, I started my blog when I was in the first year of middle school, and I started Rookie as a sophomore in high school.
I bet colleges would just give you a professorship.
But it's just weird because I've spent so much time thinking about my life as a teenager, as have a number of other people.
Sure.
So it's just weird to find, and it's always been teen, blah, blah, everything written about me or whatever is they'll say what I've done and then end it by being and she's this age.
Yeah.
So it's just something that I've always been very aware of. Which is
exactly what I did to start the interview.
Oh, I mean, I didn't catch that, which is why I thought it was okay to say that. Oops.
No, it's totally cool. I was like, you're 18. Now, you make a good point, and you write about this in your recent editor's note, that you've always been, and certainly you're not the only one, but very self-aware of the teenage experience. I think there's a point where you say, I thought about when I was writing bad poetry in my journal that someday I would look back and laugh and say, that's bad poetry that I'm writing.
Yeah.
Do you think being self-aware of the teenage experience to that level kind of makes it easier to deal with the inevitable pain of being a teenager, to be able to look at it from that kind of distance, or does it have no effect? Is it just as painful?
No, the first one for sure, because people, I've worried about this, and people ask me, oh, well, are you worried that, you're not, are you worried you're not getting the full experience or something, or, you take yourself out of it too much, or, it's insincere or something, or you're, forcing yourself to, feel like a teenager. I mean, honestly, I think it's good to have perspective on being a teenager.
Sure.
That's the whole idea behind, it gets better and stuff. It's just that, I think being able to, it's, whenever I've been upset, it's just been nice to be able to know, this is how it's supposed to feel. And, there can even be something kind of bittersweet about it. At this age. That's what I'm worried about, is that, I'll, go to college and be angsty, but it won't be, I'm an angsty teen. It'll just be, I'm an angsty person.
Yeah,
Ugh.
Well, you know what? I think in that note you talk about the idea of the whole point of the essay, and I'm going to get it wrong, is that you talk about that this time, 13 to 17, is this forever.
Yeah.
And you kind of define what forever is,
Mm-hmm.
and that you think that this time is going to last forever, but you know that inevitably you're going to change and grow.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to this. I don't know how much we change as people. So we grow, we learn things, we don't make necessarily the same mistakes we made yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But I know also that I feel like the same person I felt like in high school, because I actually am the same person that I was. And I felt that way when I was 6, so just sitting at my little desk with the little microphone, saying things I didn't understand. The play school talk show set. But do you feel, you were on a few years ago, do you feel like your perspective on things is changing, or do you feel like the essence of who you are is remaining the same?
I don't know. I mean, I think the essence is there, but I think, I guess, the whole thing with that editor's letter, so, each month on Rookie is a different theme, and this month is forever, because I was thinking about, in the book and movie Perks of Being a Wallflower, they have this moment where, they're driving, and he's like, we felt infinite. And there's just this, there's, common theme in, the way people say, best friends forever, together forever, the whole idea behind, promise rings, and, carving your name into a desk and a tree, and, all these very specifically teenage things where you just, don't see beyond this bubble.
Mm-hmm. When they say forever around here, in Boston, we would say forever. Do they do that here too?
No.
Okay. Keep going.
Well, so I guess I wrote it and made it the theme for this month because that is, like I said, what I've been thinking about now. But I do, and and for me, like, being a teenager has been a pretty good experience, and it has been a time when I feel like I have come into my own and established my essence or whatever. So I guess my worry was, like, what if I grow up and I stop loving what I do, or I stop, like, feeling inspired by things, or I become jaded or whatever. And then it's like the commenters on Rookie are, like, mostly other teenagers, but there will be the occasional adult who's, like, cool older sister, kind of, and a bunch of people were like, you will still, like, have these amazing moments of driving with your friends or whatever when you're in college. Like, it's not, like, you, like, enter a door. Yeah. You don't, like, step
unless
through a door.
Unless you don't have a car.
Unless you don't have a car.
Yeah.
But it's not like you step through a door and then you're just, like, a different person. No. And, you know, so I
if you want angst to continue, college is a great time to do that, I feel.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't think it's this, like, just, like, a straight-up timeline, I think. I think it's very, like, fluid.
Do you think that, you know, Rookie has this, you know, it seems like an amazing kind of community that has grown around Rookie Mag, and there's obviously thousands of other communities on the internet. In the old days, you know, he just did an interview with Chris Ware, and Chris Ware talks about how he felt so alienated in high school, and in the old days, he didn't have anybody he could reach out to. I would imagine, and I don't know if this is too simplistic, that today, if you're feeling something, if you're feeling on the fringe, if you're feeling like an outsider, because of the internet, you can find a community.
Yeah.
That said, do you think that teenage life, and I obviously you don't know what it was like when I was a teenager, but do you feel like it's harder to feel lonely, or is feeling lonely still very much a part of teenage existence?
I think, well, do you know the Australian show Ja'mie, Private School Girl?
I don't.
It's
Game of Thrones? Do you know Game of Thrones?
It's this comedian who's done shows like Summer Heights High, or Chris Lilly is his name, and he's 39, and he plays a private school girl, and it's like, I mean, you're aware that it's not...
Oh, is it coming out on HBO?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you watch it, you're, like, aware that it's not a girl, but he's so convincing that you forget it's a man, and you just accept that she's, like, this overgrown, like, weirdly face structure. Anyways, but it's a really good show, and I was reading a thing about it that was basically saying, like, you know, they've updated the character from his previous because she's been part of his other shows. Like, now they have more stuff with technology. But I think, like, those things, and, like, you know, the clothes they wear or whatever are different, and the bands they listen to, but I think those things are kind of interchangeable. Like, I still think something like feeling lonely is just in the, like, biological makeup of being in high school. But I do think that it is easier now, because I think it's not just like, oh, there's no one in my town who I relate to. I think it's people also can feel, like, alienated from the culture, and now it's like, well, it's too impossible to pin down, like, what is mainstream and what is, like, alternative, and everything is so blended, and you do have all these options for whatever you're interested in to, like, explore that online. So I think that I think there's more of that too, where, like, there's less of a need to feel like you have to be into whatever the mainstream culture is.
A couple of years ago when you were on the show, you told this story, which you laughed off, of, I think it was you were walking down the street, and some people from, I guess, the high school drove by, and I think you were wearing a blue wig at the time or something, and they started laughing at you a little bit. And
probably.
Yeah. Did folks catch up with you, kind of, as you're a senior now? Or are people like, yeah, now everybody's wearing the blue wig?
You know, I hate to say, it sounds so gross to say so.
Yeah.
But, and it's not like I'm trying to do, and, like, I'm happy about this. It's not like I'm trying to be like, I liked it first. Like, I'm not territorial about what I like in that way.
Yeah.
But it is weird to see, like, people where, like, in middle school, when I was, like, making zines and, like, you know, really into Perks of Being a Wallflower or whatever, and then now, like, people who maybe, like, yelled at me from car windows are like making a zine. I just heard about people in my grade making a zine, and I was like, they are? But which makes me happy ultimately.
Sure.
But yeah, it is weird just how, like, in the few years, I think it's just like I think it's like an internet trickle down where, like, things just, the cycle is faster now. And so, and like there's Tumblr, and like you also don't really have to like, I don't know, you don't have to know a lot about a subculture to, you know, buy clothes that reference it or whatever, because everything is just so, you just like see a picture and it's cool, and you maybe don't know about the photographer or whatever, but that's, I think, how these interests become like the lines become really blurred between like what artsy kids like and then what other kids like and all of that.
Well, that's good though. I mean, it's good that
yeah,
those
I mean,
lines are
I
blurred.
think, yeah, I mean, when I
mean, the old days of the jocks and I mean the cliche age. I mean, I know
Yeah.
you love the movie The Breakfast Club. Those
Yeah.
are dealing with these archetypes. Do those still?
Yeah.
Can you still identify those readily at school?
I mean, kind of, but I think, but it is a lot more just like mixed in now. But I also go to like a really big school where like we have 3,200 kids, and I'm just not that aware of like it would be impossible to make like a lunchroom map or whatever.
Look, someday my kids are going to go to that school.
Right.
What do I need to know?
Well, oh man. I mean,
I heard some kids use drugs.
Some kids do.
Yeah.
But because it's so big, there are also kids who like
Who don't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I think just the size of it can like be used to one's advantage greatly, because you really don't have to like, it's not like, oh, these are the only people in my grade I have to be friends with. Like, you don't have to be friends with anyone. There are a lot of clubs and activities. And I think like, you know, every year I've had at least like one or two teachers who I think are like really, really inspiring. And, you know, that's kind of like the most you could ask of high school. So
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I have a lot of like teachers
and
who
like
are good.
free lunch, you know,
Free
walk
lunch,
off campus.
yeah. But I mean, I've had a lot of teachers that are good, but to have as many teachers as I've been lucky to have that are like that one, like, you know, Robin Williams in Dead Poets Society or whatever, like that is really special.
Have you ever got up on the desk at the end of it? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But I did, well, I guess since we're talking about teen movies, on the last day of school freshman year, like, you know, in Fast Times at Ridgemont High when he orders a pizza to class, I ordered Jimmy John's to class, and we were in a first floor classroom, so the kid like threw the sandwich in through the window. It was beautifully executed.
That's amazing. What did the teacher do?
Well, the teacher was terrified because this was a kid who had been kicked out of our class. He then like climbed in through the window. But it was the last day of school, so everyone was just happy. But yeah.
That's great. Was there enough for everybody?
No, just for me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna buy everyone a sandwich.
Free smells. What Rookie Mag? What was missing? What was missing out there that you thought Rookie Mag could fill?
I think the ideas for Rookie started to come about when around the time I was on your show last time.
Thank you very much.
Because I was like in starting high school and feeling like I felt like there were like maybe corners of the internet where like girls like me had kind of congregated and like the same stuff, but there wasn't like a home base, and there wasn't just kind of like I wanted something that I wanted a publication that could both, you know, most importantly, speak to its teenaged female readers in a way that made them feel respected and like they were taken seriously. But I also felt like in the rest of publishing, like, despite teen girls being probably like the most, you know, the like greatest market or whatever,
Sure.
They're also like the least respected. Like, you know, bands get written off because it's like all their fans are teenage girls, and like there's that kind of thing. And so I also thought it would be cool if there could be a publication that isn't like, you know, that is respected in that kind of larger world of publishing as well. And so you know, even though like ultimately I don't care what a bunch of grown-ups think, I think it's cool that you know, we are like, we did an event with the New Yorker Festival, and I felt like, oh, this isn't something that like 17 or whatever you know what I mean? So
well, there's a mix between teenage writing and then adults.
Yeah.
That's obviously something that you've thought about.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, our contributors are, a mix of teenagers and then like women in their like 20s through 40s, and we have one writer who's in her 50s. But I think just because I feel like it's nice to have people your age who are to hear from, because you're like going through the same things at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But
I read 40-year-olds a lot, just 40-year-olds.
But I feel like it's nice to have an adult perspective too, because of the like it gets better thing, where it's just nice to hear from people who can like have perspective on what it was like to be a teenager and say like, oh yeah, you won't remember that, or you won't care, like this will stick with you, and all of that.
So what happens to it as you get older?
Well, you know, because it has its own life now, and I think that you know, we have more and more story editors, and the tone is established. And like when Rookie first started, I like didn't really get sleep or do my homework because I like had to make sure that everything was how it should be. And now that's established, and I've done that, and other people get it, and people who don't even work for us get it, and like it stands on its own. And so I think you know, maybe the stuff I write about myself will change. And I'll probably go from, like, someone your age who it's nice to hear from them because you're going through the same stuff, to, like, it's nice to have perspective from an adult. I'll probably go from that to that.
You should start every essay with, when I was your age.
Yes. That, teens love that. But I think, but I mean, it's its own thing. I mean, it's a magazine, and it has a print anthology, and it would be silly for me to steer like 80 or so contributors in the direction of like, well, I'm in college now, so what am I dealing with? But you know, I might also, I don't know, I will change.
You don't have to decide.
Rookie
right
won't.
Now.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
There was one thing, and I want to go back to, I just love the interview you did with Chris Ware, who also is Oak Parker, and he had this, you know, it often seems, and I don't know if you're a millennial or if you're like post-millennial or millennial plus or millennial, I don't know what that is. But millennials get this, adults love to say negative stuff, older adults, about millennials, that they're greedy, that they're selfish, that they think everything is handed to them, blah, blah, blah. And he comes at it from a totally different viewpoint, in which he said, you know, I feel like America finally has reached its it's not an adolescent anymore, it's an adult, and your generation is kind of the first generation to grow up in that span where America is an adult, and that there isn't this, I think he was trying to say that there isn't this kind of detachment from that so many people, and I probably include myself, have, and that you both know how to have fun, but you also really want to, you know, get stuff done, and you really want to contribute to the world. And he made me kind of think about it in a totally really nice light. And I just wanted your take on whether you see, because I know you go back and you study the past a lot, and you study different decades. Do you see generational differences? And if you can, in about a minute and a half, explain your generation.
Well,
I'm just joking. But
I really liked what he said. I think
No.
Wait.
But did it resonate with you what he said?
Yeah. No. Yeah. He said something like, I asked like what. I forgot what I asked, but he was like, I am shocked at how just like equipped and like ready-made citizens you all seem.
That's right. Yeah.
And I mean, people say that there's not really a generation gap anymore in terms of like music and movies, because of the internet. We all kind of like see the same stuff, and I think, you know, something similar can be said of just more just like social consciousness. And I mean, when I see all of these think pieces that are like, millennials, they take pictures of themselves, I don't get it. Yeah. Like
Seinfeld doesn't write those think pieces.
You would think they sound just like him. But
what's the deal with the millennials?
Yeah, right. My Seinfeld impression is just like,
it was good.
But I think like they're all like, they're narcissistic and they're selfish, and they think everything they have to say is so interesting. And it's like, I feel like you can say the same of someone writing a think piece about people younger than them. Like, I just think that, like, I don't know. I think,
Tavi, can I get a word in?
What?
No, I'm just joking.
Oh. No, but I just get frustrated, though, because you see this stuff, and it's like, I think that is a human thing, and I think, you know, there is, of course, that it's just, like, this life cycle that, like, adults write think pieces about the younger generation, and then the younger generation is like, well, you've created this culture, and I also think that, like, it can be good for young people to feel like what they have to say is important, and it doesn't always have to be, like, there's a difference between, like, teenagers on Facebook making, like, self-obsessed statuses about what they ate that day. There's a difference between that and, like, you know, the submissions I see as editor of Rookie, where you have girls who, like, really believe in what they're doing and in their writing and in their artwork, and I feel like not enough credit is paid to, you know, those members of my generation.
Well, Rookie it's really great.
Thank you.
And congratulations on it. And thanks for coming by again. The
Thank
book's
you for
for sale
having
out
me.
there from the bookseller, and you'll sign some copies?
Yeah.
All right. Tavi Gevinson, everyone.